Hey everyone, it's Alex Miller at Capnion here. Today I'd like to provide some informative introductory conversation about MCP, the Model Context Protocol, with reference to some other AI trends like retrieval augmented generation and agentic AI. So to get started, most basic questions. What is Model Context Protocol? It's a standard created by Anthropic, makers of the large language model Claude, for how AI applications plug into other things. And this is a common architectural thing with a lot of other examples. I think in finance and healthcare in particular, you can look at a lot of different cases where people are putting up lots of APIs for people to integrate into other applications. After a while, people are doing the same tasks over and over again. And it just saves everybody a lot of time if we were to all sit down and agree how the JSON blobs that come out of the API are formatted and similar things. So a lot of people in my network might be familiar with FHIR, F-H-I-R. Very similar thing for electronic health records. We're pulling this data down for all these different purposes at all these different organizations. When it's vaguely the same data, let's just get all on the same page about formatting it the same way. So as a high-level architectural thing, nothing new here, very common, a well-traveled and very sensible way to approach these things. What's unique to AI? How does this interface with other AI trends? Retrieval augmented generation and agentic AI really orbit around the large language model as the primitive deep tech piece. And both are in different ways about providing window dressing and guardrails. They have less AI in them on the end, on average, than when you started. So in the retrieval augmented generation case, you got to retrieve things. So you're going to be hitting some kind of other data source to feed your LLM. Wouldn't it be great if we all knew we'd agreed something about how to handle the silly little details of that kind of handshake? Agentic AI similarly is about, can we set up a system around the LLM to harness its power and flexibility, but channel it well enough that we're going to trust it to do things like buy plane tickets for us and move money around? And that's another thing where maybe now the AI is hitting a lot of external APIs, sending them data back and forth. Once again, it would be super nice to all be on the same page about how these things are done, how the data is formatted. So Anthropic is roughly a market leader. They have put out a big open standard about how to handle all these little things. If you're a developer and you're building an AI application, this could be a really big boon to you. First off, you're probably not building your own LLM. That's another piece you're going to get from somewhere else. And either standing up your own API or perhaps hitting something from a company like Anthropic over the web, you're going to be talking to some other widget with your application to get that AI piece. And if it's supposed to be doing something like buying plane tickets, it's going to have to take what comes from that AI and then talk to some other API belonging to an airline or similar. So actually, you might be someone whose background is really about application development, front-end stuff. You don't really need to understand the AI all that well. You certainly don't want to be rebuilding these things. You're just trying to plug in and provide a nice interface to the user. If there's a clear standard out there already about how all these little handshakes around your application go, that could potentially save you a lot of time versus every single connection. Okay, how does this thing need to be formatted? How does that thing need to be formatted? What does that handshake look like? First, knowing at the beginning, and then even in time, a nice standard is going to enable people to write code for you in advance to streamline these things. So to bring it all together, MPC is an attempt at doing something for AI that's been done a lot of other places. It's a very sensible thing to do. And if it goes well and if it gets well established, it's going to do a lot down the road to save everybody time by providing clarity about how a lot of these little touch points around the application are supposed to work. Closing with a bit of skepticism, AI is really young. There are certainly other people competing. I'm sure somebody at Anthropic had a little bit of an ulterior motive in creating this standard, in that, well, if we put out the standard and we like it, that is only going to help corral people into working with Anthropic and Claude. So it's a little early to say, oh, this is forever. Oh, they got it exactly right. RAG and AgenticAI, which are the sort of architectural trends in the background here, are also very young and could also change a lot. But in the long term, an important part of AI going from something being futuristic and maybe a little mumbo jumbo to being something everyday that developers incorporate in lots of applications is absolutely going to pass through the formation of these kinds of standards that tell everybody how to do little handshakes. And that's exactly what the Model Context Protocol, which we're now calling MCP, is.